Oh, okay, now I thought of what it was.
Sure.
Do you want me to do it like a Look Live intro? Like I'm here at the pallet shelter?
Up to you.
Okay.
I'm going to be rolling the entire time.
Okay.
Take how many times you want.
Mayor Coolidge, we're here at this pallet shelter. Now this is a day, it's been a long time coming. For so many months, we haven't really heard much from the city of Chico. As of today, what can you tell me about the settlement agreement that allowed this all to happen? Are you relatively happy with what you see here?
Well, I'm relatively happy that we can move forward on this
Okay.
issue, that we can get our parks and waterways cleaned, that we can actually look at having a solution that combines some compassion but also with some, enforcement. And obviously that's what the community's been craving, is that enforcement in our parks and waterways. And this is the vehicle that allows us to get there.
So right now what we're looking at is all of these different shelters. Some will house one person, some will house two people. For the people who are living here, what sort of, when we talk about enforcement, safety enforcement will be on site to make sure people who stay here are safe?
Yeah, there will be security. There will be an organization, whether that'll be the city or an outside organization managing the site. Of course, behavioral health will be here as well, interacting with each of the guests to see that they can get on a path to actually getting, their lives back in a state where they do not have to use this resource. And that really is the county's goal. That's the city's goal. We know that's not going to work for everybody, but obviously we want to do outreach so we can make sure that they actually get the help that they need.
And that sort of thing, I know that there's been a lot of discussion about behavioral health and having those resources available to the people who are staying here. I know that was key in the settlement, and it's definitely a need that we've heard across the community. That's definitely a big concern. In terms of other sort of safety issues, is that all budgeted for in what the city is paying to keep this place maintained?
Yeah, of course we have the initial costs of preparing the property, the costs of the shelters, which the county is actually picking up, but then the city will bear some of the costs. And some of that's been done through, COVID Relief Act funds and hopefully some state funds as the governor does his new budget. But obviously there's a lot of aspects to this. There's the security aspect, there's the behavioral health aspect, there's, the meal that we're doing for each day, and those kind of costs. So knowing exactly what those are at this point, when we don't know how many people will occupy the site, those are a little more difficult to determine, but will be flushed out as we move forward.
Let's take a look at this pallet shelter that we see here. And, one of the things that you were telling me about was the heating and the air conditioning.
Yeah.
That was a key feature. And let's cut for 1 second and let you do a balance. And we'll get it, and I'll kind of re-ask that question.
Actually, the same color here.
Oh, good.
So you could have kept going.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
So I know a key component, or one of the things that was required of these pallet shelters, was to make sure they were kind of climate controlled, heating and air conditioning. But you're telling me it wasn't actually a requirement of the judge.
It wasn't. And in fact, when we tried the airport site, that was one thing that he said is, look, the average person in Chico may not have air conditioning, may not have heating like, everyone else would ideally like. So you don't have to provide that. Really, the heating and air conditioning component was what the county presented to us. So when they approved it through the Board of Supervisors using their CARES Act funding, they wanted it and required it to have heating and air conditioning for the folks out here. As we all know, it can reach, 110 degrees in Chico during the summer.
Yeah.
You're inside a shelter like this, you can get up to 120 in something like this. So it is something I think will maintain better health, of course, for the folks involved in this and coming out to utilize the site. But that was a requirement of the county and the reason why we did it.
Okay, let's take just a quick look around this space. So we have some storage space, and it looks like these pull down. Is that how these work? They pull down and they
pull down
essentially become.
Yeah, they're latched.
Oh, there we go.
They're bolted on, I think. Oh no, well, you know what? It's probably.
we can leave them.
Yeah, I think they're latched up for right now.
Hopefully easy enough for the average
Yeah,
person,
yeah.
even if I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
But so enough space for two people if they'd like. We've got the storage, we've got the heating and air, we have fire safety equipment in each one. I take it?
Required,
Yeah.
of course, through fire code.
And then if you look in the outside of this door here, each one locks from the inside, which was that a requirement of the settlement agreement?
It wasn't necessarily a requirement of the settlement agreement. It was just something that comes standard with the shelter space, and people do want to be able to secure their belongings, and that in fact was a part of the settlement agreement, so that they should be able to secure their belongings in a fashion that they can feel safe when they're here. They can leave it behind and move on to, you know, go out to, you know, do whatever they need to do through the behavioral health program.
Right.
So.
Yeah, the locking door definitely seems like it would add that component of safety for people who are living here. Do you have any concerns about it, though, in terms of having this space where we don't really know what's going on inside? Or is that just kind of, I mean, that's how every home is. Really.
It is how every home is. This will really be, you know, their temporary home as long as they, you know, decide to stay here. And then we take them through the process to get them help. But, you know, it is something that, you know, particularly in terms of their documents that they need to start moving through this process, and, you know, any money they've accumulated, anything along those, you know, lines, it really does need to have a locking door so they can feel secure with their possessions.
Okay.
So.
Let's go outside for the next couple of questions.
Yeah, and we can probably, well,
I was gonna
you
ask
want to walk
you.
further up?
Yeah, or do you know where on site the behavioral health would set up?
I don't know exactly whether it's going to be at this end or that end. My
But it's
guess
somewhere right
yeah,
here.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be, they'll have a trailer.
Okay.
So.
Are you shooting right now? Mm-hmm. Perfect. Okay. So we could even actually do a question just with this
Sure.
kind of shot. Let's see.